great gifts of working on this biography was that it took both Neil and myself to Ireland for the very first time. And neither of us had been very aware of our Irish heritage. Neil's mother was an O'Shea, and my family had come from Northern Ireland and near Omagh and the wee village, as it was then, of Dromore. And so Neil and I met on the dance floor in Toronto, me from this Irish Protestant background, and Neil, who'd been a Jesuit for 26 years, then worked with the Kennedys and Red Foster to bring the Special Olympics to Canada. And that's what he was doing when I met him. And then, didn't he get this job at CJD Radio in Montreal? So we moved lock, stock and barrel down the 401 highway to set up shop in Montreal in an apartment smaller than either of us had for ourselves, on half a salary for the first few months till I got a job. And we had no car. We tootled around on a bus, see how far we could get on one bus ticket each. So that was what Neil was doing. He was doing radio, open line radio, which he was very good at, when he heard about John Mayne. So here we are, some years later, and Neil has been asked to do this biography, this amazing gift for him. And here we are, going to Ireland for the very first time. And we had a chance to go to Ballinskelligs, where the Mayne family had lived for several generations. And the Maynes were descended from Charles Kickham, a famous Irishman. And then later on, we were invited to stay in the home of John Mayne's sister, Yvonne Fitzgerald. And what a gift that was for both of us. Yvonne, like her brother, and like their mother apparently, was a gifted storyteller, and she could imitate all the different Irish accents and other accents. And I sat on the floor with her grandchildren and listened to her stories. And then I would sit in the kitchen with her while she was cooking supper for us. And she'd offer me a gin and tonic, and I'd sip that while we talked, and she cooked. And then she'd say, would you like the other half of your G&T? So we had a great time, and years later, we used to phone every 6 months and just laugh our heads off, and that friendship was a great gift to me. And her home in Booterstown, where all kinds of interesting people would turn up. And I think that's where I first met Eric Johnson, her son. Then, as Neil worked on the biography, eventually it became clear to him that he would not be able to keep working full-time at CJD and finish the biography. So he decided, right at the height of his career, when he had 76,000 listeners, most popular English language broadcaster in Montreal, with this excellent radio station, CJD, he decided to leave and to finish the biography. That was a major decision, and one that he never regretted. And he was always thankful to Father Lawrence Freeman for asking him to write that biography. That was a great gift. And so here we are, the two of us, arriving in Ireland for the first time, and eventually ending up in Dublin, and then going back when the book was completed for the launch. And the book was launched at Trinity College in Dublin, where John Mayne had taught law and had been the wine steward, and had this lovely suite of rooms. And that the Christmas after the biography was finished, Neil wrote for the first time ever a Christmas letter to all our friends. And here's a tiny fragment from it. He says, he writes, "The highlight of our stay in Dublin, beside the unusually warm, clear, sunny weather, was a reception for the biography held at Trinity College, founded in 1591, where John Main had been a student and law professor. And John Main, it's quite clear, would have made a major contribution to international law if he had continued as a law professor. He had a brilliant mind, and that's one of the aspects that comes out in the biography. So there he was, teaching law at Trinity College, and as Neil writes, living in a lovely suite of Georgian rooms where his sister Yvonne helped him entertain students, some from his beloved Malaya. Now Malaya was the place where John Main first learned to meditate.